Big Barda and Mr. Miracle. Their story reminds me of that Romeo and Juliet, two beings that everything opposes but who love each other despite their origins and their families. When Scott was given up to Apocalypse against his will, he was sentenced to an eternity of torture, horror and agony. He didn't have much to look forward to until he met Barda. She was one of the Furies, a really dangerous fighters from Apocalypse, serving only Darkseid. So Scott escaped Apocalypse and Barda did too. But before that happened, they found escape in each other. And that's the real story. More than any dimension, hope in superheroics. More than any war, or treason, or conspiracy. Barda has always been Scott's first and best way out. And I think that the real miracle is their story. And that's why I really love this couple. Aquaman and Mera. What would the king be without his queen? Aquaman and Mera are among the most iconic couples in the DC universe. They manage to stay united and love each other despite all the challenges they may have encountered. Being both a member of the Justice League and ruler of Atlantis, Archer Curry has always been able to count on Mera to support him, being almost as powerful as him despite her difficulties in integrating the surface and managing her anger. It only remains that the marriage proposal of Aquaman in the New 52 was one of my favorite moments. Green Arrow and Black Canary. Such a crazy and intrepid pair of lovers. Black Canary, who fights against everything and anything, and only just making jokes around and having her back. This couple is so iconic that during the 2011 DC Universe reboot, fans were really disappointed not to find them together. It was until 2016 with the Rebirth event that we finally got to see them again, and this time under the magnificent features of the artist Otto Schmidt, embellished by the writing of Benjamin Percy. I assure you that we cannot stop reading it. Red Robin and Spoiler. It's funny when we think about it, but Tim Drake aka Red Robin and Stephanie Brown aka Spoiler both wore the Robin suit. After challenging her father, who was none other than a criminal named Cluemaster, Spoiler joined the Bat family with Catwoman and Robin for a while. It is only during her adventures with Tim Drake that she falls in love with him. And this is how another couple is born in the Bat family. Yes, I don't want to talk about Nightwing and Barbara, or Red Hood and Barbara, or Batman and Barbara. No, that never happened. Hawkman and Hawker. We can't talk about DC couples without mentioning Hawkman and Hawker. Two beings who have literally chosen their couple over heaven, being the reincarnation of Khufu and Chaira, a former couple of rulers of Egypt, murdered and then having their souls sealed. Their love continued through their many lives, but it never ceased to exist. Their story is a bit complicated, but I would love to tell you about it in another video. The Flash and Iris West. You've probably seen them in the series The Flash, but the famous journalist Iris West and the forensic chemist Barry Allen form an unstoppable duo, especially when it comes to stopping crime in Central City. In the New 52, Barry and Iris were only best friends because Barry wanted to protect her. He told himself that because he was Flash, he couldn't afford to get too close to the people he loved, because it could put them in danger. But after a while, Barry finally decides to ask her out. But it doesn't matter in which time or universe we're talking about. The Flash and Iris West will always love each other. Mr. Freeze and Nora. This man became one of Batman's worst enemies just to save his wife. Nora Freeze was seriously ill, and there is no cure to save her, yet. Her husband, Victor Freeze, mad with despair for his beloved, puts her on a cryonic while waiting to find a cure, then find a solution against cryonics to save her. He found himself transformed after an accident, only being able to withstand very low temperatures. But everything he could do to save his wife, whether it was by robbing banks or fighting the Dark Knight. It's a beautiful but sad story. Hourman and Liberty Bell. Only comics readers know this couple, but they are one of my favorites. Hourman and Liberty Bell are two members of the Justice Society of America, a super-powered couple with a super attraction for each other. One being able to have super strength for an hour and the other having it all the time. It's just a shame not to have found them during the New 52. Superman and Lois Lane. I think they are the most iconic couple in the DC universe. When you think of Clark Kent, you immediately think of Lois Lane, a couple of journalists like none other until the day Clark finally decides to reveal his true identity. In any Superman story, there is Lois. As in every universe, there is a Superman. They got married and had a child named John Kent, who became Superboy since he has the same powers as his father. Superman and Lois really marked the history of comic books. This couple survived 80 years of history and love. Batman and Catwoman. Even though Superman and Lois Lane is the most iconic couple, it's not my favorite. For me, the best is none other than Batman and Catwoman, a couple of enemies at the base, but having an attraction so great for each other that it was impossible to escape it, whether in the movies, games, or even comics, until they eventually got married and had a daughter who became Robin in Earth 2, even if the fans are often disappointed because this couple is never entitled to the happiness they deserve. For all the loves in Batman's life, the Dark Knight keeps coming back to Catwoman as the woman who has truly stolen his heart. If you want to enjoy a bit of romance and love in the DC universe or want to get an idea of the best couples, I only recommend you Lois and Clark, Batman, Catwoman, Green Arrow 2016, or even Miracle that I really love, or the tragic Batman Mr. Freeze. Here our video has come to an ending. If you liked it, don't hesitate to subscribe and put a thumb up if it's not done. We'll meet very soon for a new video, and may the comic passion guide you.